Hey, I hope you guys are doing good today. We are going to be watching 10 Horrible Ways Animals Can End You. And this is from our favorite Casual Geographic. I have had this one on my list, and I feel like this is going to be horrifying, but I'm ready for it. It probably, it's going to be, I think it's going to be educational as well. If you do get a chance, I'd appreciate if you can leave a like and subscribe. It helps me out a bunch, and I will have Casual Geographic's video linked in my description below. So be sure to go and like and subscribe to him. He does such an amazing job. But yeah, I think I'm ready for this. Let's go. Before we get started, I do want to say thank you. We have reached 1,000 subscribers, which is a huge milestone. The past few months have just been absolutely amazing getting to know all of you and all of the comments that you guys put in and just the extra knowledge that you share with me. I appreciate you guys so much, and this has been such a such a great little journey, I guess. It's just been really cool. I feel like I've learned so much, and I just really enjoy making these videos. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being here and watching and just hanging out with me in a way, it's just really nice. So just thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Let's get started here.
Hope y'all didn't think you were safe just cause Halloween's over. This video was actually supposed to be posted on Halloween, but I don't even have an excuse, it just be like that. Not much of an intro this time, so here's 10 horrible ways animals can put your autobiography in the history section. Not necessarily in order, but it does get brutal, so I'm gonna do something I've never done before. Viewer discretion is very much advised. That's the only
Ah.
warning you're gonna get. When that music starts, it's up. Also, I
I'm ready. I'm ready. I know this is gonna be probably horrifying, but I'm ready. I'm ready for this.
kinda owe y'all more Halloween content, so if this gets a certain number of likes, I'll do a part 2. All that aside, let's get to the content. When you think of some of the apex predators on the planet, you might think of heavyweights like lions, bears, crocodiles, and of course you got the biggest bully in the ocean. Not the seal, but the killer whale dragging it. But what you probably don't think of is a prehistoric steroid gecko found on only remote islands in the world. And that's exactly what makes the Komodo dragon one of the most underrated killers on the planet.
I've always been terrified by Komodo dragons, though. I don't even know that much about them, but I have always been terrified by them. I think they are like super cool looking, but they have always been pretty terrifying to me. And I just always, I mean, something about them, it's like they are so cool, but I feel like every time I think our zoo has one that I think I've seen, vaguely remember, but I feel like they kinda give off a vibe of, like, "I will eat you," and that is a little scary.
This homicide lizard can grow to 10 feet long, weigh nearly 200 pounds,
Oh my
and
gosh.
swim, and can run faster than your mental health is prepared for. This video isn't sped up, but the most
Oh my
lethal thing
gosh.
about them is something you can't see. The Komodo dragon has up to 60 razor-sharp serrated kitchen knives for teeth tough enough to dissect a full-grown buffalo and tear flesh in chunks. But
Oh.
it's how they catch their prey that's unsettling. It was believed that a Komodo's septic bite was potent enough to cause its victim to retire to a bacterial infection. But it turns out this modern-day dinosaur uses a toxic venom that it injects into its prey. This
Of course it has venom. Of course it does. I would Of course it has venom. Why wouldn't it? As if it's not terrifying enough. Yes, let's just add venom to it. Well, at least I know that, I know well enough that, I was like, "Nope, this is a nope." I mean, I respect it. I think they are awesome looking. They look badass, but I ain't messing with this one.
venom reduces the body's blood clotting abilities and makes it more likely for you to bleed out once wounded. Other symptoms include lowering of blood pressure, shock, and muscle paralysis, and that last one's going to be real important later.
This sounds terrifying. This sounds terrifying. And to be an animal that's gonna, I guess, be subjected to this, like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Include lowering of blood pressure, shock, and muscle paralysis, and that last one's going to be real important later. The venom's so powerful that just one bite can be a death sentence for a tank like a water buffalo, which means Komodos don't have to waste energy trying to chase down a meal. All they have to do is critically wound their prey and then wait for them to die. And because these reptiles that time left behind are only found on remote islands, and they have a borderline disrespectful sense of smell. There's almost no point on the island you can go where this lizard Liam Neeson won't eventually track you down.
That is a very terrifying thought. 100%. That is terrifying. That is a terrifying thought. And they are working smarter, not harder, which is even scarier.
And the reason paralysis being a symptom is such a problem is because Komodos won't exactly wait for their prey to be past tense, just as long as they're too weak to fight back or run away. Cause these lizards will eat their prey alive, with the only relief coming when you eventually flatline the blood loss. And even though venom's the main suspect, you can still get clapped by a slow, painful bacterial infection. The first response of animals like buffalo after they've been wounded is to escape into nearby water. Going into unclean water with an open wound is how you lose your life to a horrific case of sepsis, and again, your life doesn't have to end for his meal to begin. Not only have Komodo dragons been known to attack humans, they've been recorded seeking out human graves, digging out the corpses, and then feeding on whatever human remains they find.
Oh my, what? Oh my god. So they give 0 F, and I guess food's food. A meal's a meal. Oh my god.
Nothing on this island is safe from a Komodo, not even another Komodo, cause Komodo hatchlings will spend most of their childhood up in the trees. Why? Adult Komodos are cannibals that'll devour any young dragons they run into, even if it ends up being their own children.
Oh my god.
We're talking about a 10-foot venomous steroid chameleon that'll track you down no matter where you go and will friendly fire its own kind. And it's only the first animal on this list. We talked about these winged bastards a couple videos ago, so this is going to be a quick one. Now, plenty of birds eat other birds, but few are as sadistic about it as these overgrown ice vultures. Even though giant petrels are scavengers, they will target and jump weak or injured penguins, as well as snatch up any unaccompanied penguin chicks they can find. Just like a lot of animals you're going to see on this list, giant petrels will eat their struggling prey alive in groups, and they have a nasty habit of breaking in through the back door.
Oh my god, yeah, like, what is that about some animals and coming in through the back door? Like, what is that? It's it's, like, so disturbing to think about, and why then I there's so many that do that. Why? But why? I also feel like it's almost more terrible when the animal isn't dead. Like, just kill it and get it over with so you can have your meal. It's like playing with your food.
Struggling prey alive in groups, and they have a nasty habit of breaking in through the back door. I can't show you, but there are videos of these prison pigeons pulling out the intestines of a penguin through its anus.
Oh
all
my
while the penguin was
god.
alive and fighting for his life and the sanctity of his booty.
And it's alive. Holy. Oh my goodness. Oh god.
He lost both. And it's
Yeah.
not just penguins that get victimized. Giant petrels will attack other seabirds like the albatross and put them out of commission by forcing them underwater until they drown. But nobody gets it worse than penguins. The giant petrel is so vicious that once one snatches a chick, its parents usually won't even bother trying to save its life.
Oof.
Meaning Happy Feet could have ended with Mumble getting brutally shot-shanked by a gang of flying booty bandits, all while his parents just sat and watched.
True.
And since a penguin's vital organ
Oh my god, yeah, they're just watching. Oh man. Oh god. I'm not gonna sleep after watching this video. Jesus.
by a gang of flying booty bandits, all while his parents just sat and watched. And since a penguin's vital organs are protected by a layer of fat, penguins can take a lot of damage before permanently piecing out. Alternatively, penguins can suffer through hours of abuse before experiencing the sweet release of death.
Oh god.
One researcher watched a gang of about 20 petrels tear apart a penguin that had already been mauled by a fur seal until there was nothing but a skeleton with feet attached. Don't think you're safe.
Oh.
The southern giant petrel has been nicknamed a stinker because they'll feed on any rotting, decaying carcass, to the point where these birds will tailgate boats and consume whatever foul, putrid nastiness the sailors dumped off. Petrels eat the same way they live, with no conscience. So if you're ever injured or incapacitated somewhere in the Antarctic, pray that help finds you before this bird does.
Yeah.
You won't be a fan of how that movie ends.
They look cool though, but that is scary.
It'll end the same way if you're ever chased by a pack of African wild dogs. In a neighborhood with lions and hyenas, these dogs are actually the most efficient killers on the plains, with a hunting success rate of about 80%. These African bush cujos have a very complex and nuanced hunting strategy.
80% is really good, I would say. That is really good. They are top tier hunters then.
They just keep running. These killer canines can run you down at speeds of nearly 40 miles per hour for a distance of over 3 miles, and in a sprint they can clock in at a blistering 45.
Oh my gosh.
All running away does is delay the inevitable. It's like hitting the snooze button on death. Once the prey gets chased into exhaustion, the dogs will clamp those jaws around the panicking prey's snout and flank and force it to the ground. And for the third time on this list, they don't wait for you to stop breathing to start eating. And the bigger and stronger you are, the more you suffer. Because they're
Oh
able to put down
man.
animals like warthogs in as little as 2 to 5 minutes. But tankier animals like the
2 to 5 minutes? Holy moly. That is that is impressive. That is very impressive.
they're able to put down animals like warthogs in as little as 2 to 5 minutes. But tankier animals like the wildebeest can spend the last 40 minutes of its life being gruesomely mauled by a pack of about 15 merciless murder
Oh
hounds. And
man.
once the entire pack has you surrounded, there's virtually zero escape. And African wild dogs have the unsettling habit of starting meals off by tearing a hole in the abdomen and pulling the intestines out so they can get to the organs and fat first. To
Ugh.
add insult to life-canceling injury, unlike lions, African wild dogs give puppies priority and let them eat first. So not only would you still get disemboweled, it would be the cutest members of the pack doing it first. Basically, imagine being chased by a gang of animals that never get tired, while knowing once they catch you, they'll confiscate your intestines and feed on your organs. All while you wait for the man upstairs to call your number. Well,
I mean, I get it. They gotta eat, but like, holy cow. Oof. Oof.
get your intestines and feed on your organs. All while you wait for the man upstairs to call your number. What could possibly
Oh
be
my god.
worse than that?
A monkey
Well,
head. I can't believe we're only at
hyenas are
7.
everything African wild dogs are, but on juice. And even though hyenas are genetically closer to cats and mongooses, hyenas basically behave like dogs on steroids. Thanks to Lion King, people believe hyenas were just cowardly scavengers that only survived by scrounging a living off of other animals.
Oh my
The truth is, not
god.
only do hyenas personally murk 70 to 80% of their meals, they're actually more efficient at it than lions are. And it's all because hyenas and African wild dogs have one very unsettling thing in common. They're both serial killers on Duracell, meaning the bastards never get tired. Spotted hyenas can run at high speeds for over 5 miles without even thinking about being tired. Which is why they don't have to ambush or one-shot their prey like lions, they'll just chase them into oblivion until one of them gives up. And hyenas don't give up. It doesn't help that hyenas have jaws strong enough to amputate a rhino. With a bite strength of about 1,000 pounds of force, hyenas are tough enough to eat virtually any part of an animal. They have such a habit of eating the bones of the deceased that their poop often comes out white. With a vice grip for a mouth and the eating habits of a coffin, if a clan of hyenas is your series finale, then the only thing your family will have left to bury are memories.
I can't believe they can eat bone like that. That is crazy. That is crazy. I really like hyenas though. I really I really like hyenas. I think they're so cool and they're adorable and absolutely terrifying as well.
Coffin. If a clan of hyenas is your series finale, then the only thing your family will have left to bury are memories. Cause once you're on this overgrown mongoose's meal prep, there won't be a lot of you left to put in a casket. And since there can be up to 80 members in a clan, and just one can take down 30 pounds of meat,
There can be 80. I didn't know that. I didn't know that there could be 80 in a clan. That is wild. Oh my gosh. That is something that I would not want any of that smoke if I was a big animal, but yeah, I wouldn't want to be on their menu.
in one sitting, you would basically be a Ritz cracker to them. But if I'm
Yeah.
being honest, the real reason hyenas are on this list is because of this video. And guys, y'all gonna feel this one.
Uh-oh. Oh, oh my god. Oh my god.
Hyenas have a
Holy wow. Oh my gosh. Well, I guess you got to be effective. You got to be effective. But like, oof, man. Oh man. Oh, there's a hyena cub to make up for what you just saw. Makes it better. This is quite the palate cleanser because that little baby is adorable. But that video is holy cow. Like, I, I mean, that is impressive and it's terrifying. And I think that that is a horrible, horrible way to go. But, they do what they got to do.
devious habit of going for the family honeypot, but it is for a reason. Hyenas don't have the ability to instantly end their prey the way big cats do. So for larger animals
Makes
like the
sense.
buffalo, it's way easier to perform a hands-free vasectomy and just wait for blood loss to do the work for you. Imagine a mousetrap on
That makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, I do not have outdoor plumbing, but I can only imagine if I did, that would probably be the last thing that I would want is to have this thing come and chomp on them. That's oh gosh. Yeah. I mean, look at these teeth. Very impressive. But I get it. Like they gotta work with their strengths. And if they can't do like a one shot, like he said, you gotta work with what you got. And I mean they have a lot other things to work with.
easier to perform a hands-free vasectomy and just wait for blood loss to do the work for you. Imagine a mousetrap on your baby factory, but with the force of an adult moose stepping on it. Yeah.
Oof.
This next animal is probably going to be the most unexpected on this list, but let me paint a picture. Take a wolverine, right? Put it on creatine, give it the personality of a power tool, and then dump it in the same area code as some of the most vicious carnivores in the jungle. This face of generational trauma belongs to the sloth bear. Yes, the one from Jungle Book. Sloth bears may not look like much, they're easily dwarfed by some of the more brolic bears, one of which may be on this list. They're not even super notorious predators, as insectivores, a sloth bear's grocery list is mostly ants and termites. But don't let the sloth in its name fool you, these furry chainsaws know how to get active. Sloth bears share an environment with leopards and tigers have been known to actively hunt and eat them, which is why the sloth bear is one of the most aggressively homicidal bears out there. Even though they have a size disadvantage, a pissed off slothy has been known to drive off even the most motivated tiger. And sometimes these bears clutch a 2v1. And since sloth bears can't escape in trees like American black bears, it's like nature told this dark-skinned poo that violence was his only option. Years of character development means this demon yo.
This picture is so scary though. Look at this thing. Yeah, if I was a tiger going and this is what I ended up to F around and find out with, I'd be like, yo, I'm sorry. I am sorry. My bad. My bad. I am out of here.
Will view almost anything alive as a threat, and that includes humans. Sloth bear attacks are incredibly brutal. The same claws they use to destroy concrete like termite mounts can disembowel you with one swipe. And unlike grizzlies, because sloth bears do have to worry about predators, they're much more likely to attack unprovoked. According to first-hand accounts, sloth bears will often maul their victims and then chew and suck on their limbs until they're reduced to a bloody, mushy pulp.
Oh my
Sloth
gosh.
bears also typically go for the face, incapacitating their victims while biting and slashing to the point where neither your mother or your iPhone can recognize you. And of course, an animal that motivates
Just make hamburger meat out of you. Damn. I mean, that is impressive as well. And I don't want any of this smoke either. Nope. I'm good.
and slashing to the point where neither your mother or your iPhone can recognize you. And of course, an animal that motivated usually won't stop until you're not moving. Which is why even in tiger country, more people get sent to the emergency room by the Balus of the jungle. And if you're really unlucky, if one's able to sever a critical artery with those adamantium fingernails, then your series finale will involve you bleeding into the afterlife.
Yep.
One man was able to survive a particularly brutal mauling at the hands or paws of this bear. He recalled feeling immense pressure as the bear tackled him, put its full weight on him, and crushed his leg in its jaws like a celery stick. When the bear was put out of commission, the man thought he got off easy. Until he looked at his leg and realized the bear had torn an entire chunk of his flesh, to the point where he could see his muscles moving.
I believe it because these claws look like they are massive, and I know that they're not lightweights, so like, between the weight and these claws, I would imagine that he's lucky his leg was still attached, honestly, because I mean, I feel like that's a very powerful hit that you would take if one of these clawed you. So the fact that his leg was still intact, at least like attached for the most part, I would say that's pretty lucky, sort of, kind of. Or maybe best case scenario.
And in rare cases, these bears have been known to stat pad. One infamous bear known as the sloth bear of Mysore had a human body count of at least 12 people while having also severely mauled another dozen.
Oh my god.
So when I call this bear a box cutter with claws, I'm talking about both its personality and the way its victims tend to look after. But of course, it's not the only bear on this list. Because when you're one of the few animals that'll actively hunt humans, you're guaranteed a spot. Thanks to global warming, most of the polar bear's hunting range is now underwater. A desperate polar bear will even attempt to go after walruses, even though walruses can one-shot them with those tusks. But a starving bear will resort to putting humans on the list if they get the chance. A polar bear is like a maxed out bloodhound. They can smell a seal from a mile away, and they can even track its scent through 3 feet of ice.
I know polar bears are so scary, and like we do not want to mess with them, but God, they just look so fluffy and soft, and I love their faces. See, this is good that I'm not around wild animals because I would definitely be dead and eaten alive because I would just want to pet them. So it's probably good that I just stay in my house. Right, good.
Which is why it's been said, if you see this Caucasian carnivore in the wild, it's already too late. There's a good chance the bear's been hunting you for hours or even longer. This is Tim Jarvis, and during an expedition in the Arctic, he was allegedly stalked by a polar bear for a total of 10 days.
Oh my
now
gosh.
add the fact that they can outswim every heat at the Olympics. and sprint fast enough to get a ticket in the school zone, and you'll see why getting on this ice killer's radar is a death sentence. Remember how African wild dogs tear into their prey while still alive? Bears are just triple XL dogs that will usually clamp their jaws on the prey's back to disable it. And the back is usually where they start eating from, with the intestines being one of the first things to get pulled out. Also,
Oof,
polar bears are estimated to have a bite force of about 1,200 pounds per square inch,
I
believed to be
believe
strong
that.
enough to crack a bowling ball.
I
And if one
believe
paw
it.
swipes your back, at best you'll be a paraplegic, at
Yeah, see, like, look at the size of these paws. Yeah. Yeah, no thank you. No, I am good. I respect you. You're adorable, but yeah, do not wanna get mauled by one. No thanks.
to be strong enough to crack a bowling ball. And if one paw swipes your back, at best you'll be a paraplegic, at worst you'll be a hashtag. And at least sloth bears attack out of self-defense. When a polar bear puts someone on the news, you can be sure it was 100% premeditated. And the worst part of it all is that normally polar bears wouldn't see humans as happy meals. They prefer the fat, nutrient-rich seal. But because of
Mm.
what we've done to their hood, now a polar bear doesn't even need to see you or hear you. If you're a mile downwind of a starving polar bear, that could really be all it takes. Remember the rule of thumb. If it's black, fight back. If it's brown, best get on the ground. If it's white like the president, you finna be heaven sent.
You're gonna be heaven sent.
The African wilderness has some of the most vicious and violent predators on the planet. Some of them
This is so true because I feel like a lot of videos that we've watched about a lot of predators and stuff, it has been like out in the African wild. Like, man, it seems that is a rough gig to be spawned into.
we've actually already talked about. So it says a lot that out of all of them, the one nicknamed Black Death is actually a vegetarian. The African Cape Buffalo erases about 200 names from the census each year. That's not counting the people that live but still get severely gored. They're also strong enough to ragdoll top tiers like lions, hyenas, and of course, people. Those horns aren't just for intimidation. When a Cape Buffalo charges, the hooked end of its horns can get caught under the skin and tear apart the flesh of a predator or a tourist that just doesn't know any better.
I mean, what I would not mess around with these. I mean, I've seen the videos of these too. Like, yes, we've seen how savage these guys are. But I mean, just look at like between the size and the horns of these things. Uh, yeah, I would not want to engage or try to bother this whatsoever. I I would stay very far away. But they are so cool looking. I mean, all of these animals, I get it. It's defensive, it's for survival, even if it sounds like absolutely horrendous. I definitely get it. I definitely understand it. Like they're just doing what they know how to do. And we gotta just accept it, and still we can be horrified by it, right? Um, but seeing like just like the sheer size and power of a lot of these animals, it's very impressive, honestly. It's really, really impressive.
Of course, at 1,300 pounds, they don't need horns to end you, they can easily just trample you into a chalk outline. But there's another thing about them that makes them not only a walking
Damn.
obituary, but earned them another nickname, the Widowmaker. Cause one of the fastest ways to get a divorce is to tell your husband to go hunt a Cape Buffalo, cause then you'll probably go to bed single. And that's cause this Widowmaker is one of the most vengeful animals on earth. A wounded
Oh.
Cape Buffalo will often retreat and hide in tall grass or brush. Now, if the hunter has more than one brain cell, he'll usually just give up and leave the beast alone. But if you make the mistake of following the injured animal, then you run the risk of getting ambushed and knocked clear into the ground.
Mm.
And after hitting you, the Cape Buffalo will just back up and wait for you to get back on your feet just so they can hit stick you again.
So that's a ballsy move. That is ballsy for sure. Oh God. Well, I guess you got to make sure that if you're gonna shoot one, you're it's gonna be done. I guess because I don't think you want it coming back.
Hitting you, the Cape Buffalo will just back up and wait for you to get back on your feet just so they can hit stick you again. They'll keep
Damn.
doing this until you just stop getting up. That's just what one can do to you. These guys can travel in hoods of up to 200. And these herds will often circle a
Oh
possible
man.
threat, leaving no possibility for escape. And they'll just keep circling until one eventually sees an opening and attempts to impale you. And the same rules apply. If you're still moving, they're not finished. That kind of attitude is why lions cosplay as house
This lion's face is like, oh, I effed up. I have effed up. I know I was hungry, but I effed up. Oh man, yeah. I mean, I feel it though. I feel it after hearing all this. Yep, I would probably have that same look on my face if I was a lion.
If you're still moving, they're not finished. That kind of attitude is why lions cosplay as house cats when a herd of buffalo is involved, and why hunting one should come with a life insurance package. And
Yeah.
out of the entire starting lineup known as the African Big Five, these murder cows are considered to be the biggest threat. But ironically, one of the most feared mammals on the entire continent isn't on this list.
Oh.
Yeah, no suspense here. Hippos are just waterproof horses with a sender's
Hip-hop
address from
anonymous.
hell. Hippos put about 500 names in Twitter bios a year, and that number is probably higher.
You know what? Hippos are are another one that, like, even though I don't know a ton about them, I know that they are like kind of scary and a little crazy. They seem like they're kind of like a little bit unhinged, and I don't think you want any of that smoke whatsoever. I think they are cool, and I absolutely think that they are awesome, and they are kind of cute too, like in a scary chonky kind of way, but yeah, I feel like this is another one that I feel like I was always like, "Yeah, I like them, but they kinda scare me."
Hell, hippos put about 500 names in Twitter bios a year, and that number is probably higher. They're famous for choosing violence with anything in their territory, from antelope and crocodile,
Bruh.
all the way to lions, humans, and literally everything else. Like, if you have a pulse, they'll find a reason to hate you. In fact, the biggest threat to a hippo's way of life is very literally often another hippo. Because
Oh.
oftentimes when resources are low, bull hippos will see babies as competition and will turn the adorable infants into fish food. Here's a
Ugh.
dark joke for you. Where did the baby hippo go after the baby shower? Everywhere.
Oh,
Went everywhere.
oh god.
Despite being the third heaviest thing on the planet with legs, hippos can run at speeds of 30 miles per hour.
I think this is why I think they're cute. Cause look at this run, like, how could you not think the way that this huge thing trots isn't cute? And I'd be dead once again.
Despite being the third heaviest thing on the planet with legs, hippos can run at speeds of 30 miles per hour. And they can outswim you, or technically outrun, because
Oh,
hippos don't
man.
swim, they literally run underwater, and I don't think that makes this video any better. But just like actress Tiana Trump, it's that mouth that makes them infamous. Bull hippos have tusks that can max out at 20 inches long, and they can slam their jaws at nearly 2,000 pounds of force, but if you've ever seen one eat a watermelon,
That's
you
it.
already knew that. Which is why
Candy.
the biggest
Eating it
mistake
like
a croc
candy.
can make is pull up to a hippo pool party, because it can end up getting
God.
turned into a purse. And the biggest mistake a person can make is getting too close. I hope this is photoshopped.
Man, I hope so too, because that looks oh my god.
And the
Yes, I hope this is too, because oh hell no. Uh-uh. Like I yeah, this is another one that I would admire from a very, very, very far away and say, "Yes, you are cute. You are awesome, but I do not want to get too close to you."
The biggest mistake a person can make is getting too close. I hope this is photoshopped. Hippos are one of those animals that don't need a reason to turn you into a statistic. Hippos don't typically eat meat, but their attack style involves using that massive overbite and chewing a person into
Gosh.
human applesauce. And it's the attacks in water that are the most brutal. Even if you survive, the toll for crossing hippo territory can cost an arm, a leg, multiple broken bones, and even a
Yeah.
punctured lung or two.
I believe
One
it.
tourist guide in Zimbabwe was allegedly swallowed by this land whale not once, but 3 times. And
Oh
you
my
want to know the
God.
worst thing about getting deep-throated by this obese demon donkey? Other than the smell. It's knowing that your options are to either stay inside and suffocate, or try to escape and end up negotiating your left arm in the process.
You know what? The fact that this person was swelled 3 times, I think 1 would be enough and none would be ideal. Like, I don't like, how in the hell God. Oh my god.
Or to either stay inside and suffocate, or try to escape and end up negotiating your left arm in the process. As for the tourist guide, by the time he got out, he had suffered 38 bite wounds, including one so nasty it exposed his lungs and completely crushed one of his arms.
Oh my
This man
gosh.
rescued an orphan baby hippo from a flood and raised him as his own. He even named it Humphrey and said it was like a son to him. Well, Humphrey ended up mauling and mutilating his foster father in the same river he was rescued from. That's honestly how most movies with hippos end. But
I believe it. I mean, I guess I don't know the intelligence of hippos necessarily, but they do seem like the kind of animal that, you could do everything right and they could still end you. It's kind of like moose too. Like it was like I've heard of that story of the man that I don't know if he like raised it or rescued it, but he would go out and like hang out with the moose and like pet him and, kind of thought it was his buddy and then the moose ended up impaling him. So I feel like hippos are kind of like that. Like, you could do everything right and maybe, everything will be fine, but there's always that chance that it's just going to snap and then that's the end of that. And I feel like it's a very scary game that you are playing with them.
Foster father in the same river he was rescued from. That's honestly how most movies with hippos end. But at least hippos are so massive they're impossible to miss. The next animal is the size of a golf ball but could turn 26 people into a very loaded story on CNN.
All right, we're at number 2. This list has been crazy. This has been an insane list here. And my knowledge now has expanded into terrifying territory now.
The blue ring octopus is a lot of things. Tiny, cute, and it's one of the most venomous things alive. It's armed with a neurotoxin called tetrodotoxin, and the lethal dose for a human could fit on the head of a pin. Plenty
Oh
of animals are
man.
venomous in Australia, from the jellyfish right down to the peris. But there's one disturbing fact about blue ring octopus. The blue ring octopus is so small that most people don't even realize when they've been bitten. And because they're so small and cute, some people will put the octopus in their hands not realizing they're putting their lives in the octopus's.
Because that's not terrifying, that you could potentially not even know that you're near one and it could touch you. Oh yeah, no. Yeah, see, I don't go in the ocean either. I'm all of this is terrifying.
Small and cute, some people will put the octopus in their hands not realizing they're putting their
They are
lives in
cute
the
though.
octopus's. Because not only is tetrodotoxin 10,000 times more powerful than cyanide, the neurotoxin shuts down muscles by blocking sodium channels. This decision can lead to muscle paralysis, respiratory failure, cardiac arrest, and then a permanent rest.
It is horrifying seeing all these people holding them though. This is like, oh my gosh, it's like making me like feel a little bit uneasy watching all these people hold them. Like, ugh, I guess, well, okay, so like, what are the odds of them actually like stinging you or biting you or whatever? Like, are they usually pretty docile and you have to like really like rile them up, or can it just happen? Like you pick it up and that day it just chose violence and it decides to sting you. I don't know. It's a little scary seeing all these pictures of people holding them though.
Can lead to muscle paralysis, respiratory failure, cardiac arrest, and then a permanent rest. Which is why one of the smallest animals on this list can turn you into past
So
tense in as
pretty
little as
though.
30 minutes. And remember, you don't feel when this blue ring Bundy bites you, meaning you can hold it like this for 3 seconds and then flatline in the same hour. And if you're
Ah,
swimming while that paralysis hits, use your
gosh.
imagination. Oh, and there's no antidote. All medical professionals can do is hook you up to a respirator and manage your breathing just long enough to keep you alive.
Oh
But with immediate
man.
medical attention, the chances of getting put in a casket by this blue ring hellspawn are actually pretty low. But with a bite that's impossible to feel, it's very possible to not realize you've been wounded. And without medical attention, the chance of your soul getting evicted suddenly becomes a lot higher. Which means this lady
Yeah.
just barely Eurostep becoming a name on a stone in one of the worst ways possible. Cause
Yeah.
anything that tries this hard to be seen is probably more toxic than future. That goes for octopus and people.
True.
This last one deserves its own viewer discretion warning because in some ways it's the most disturbing animal on this list. Not only does it have the highest human body count, you can be a victim and not even realize it. That's because it's believed that over 1 billion people in the world are infected with parasitic worms. They're
Oh,
especially a
yeah.
problem in places with limited access to clean drinking water. But don't think this is just some third world problem. All you have to do is swim in waters containing eggs and you can lose the lottery and become a landlord to these parasites. Once inside you, these worms can cause a bunch of
Parasites freak me out.
nasty infections and complications, but there's one disease that really stands out. These demonic flesh ropes are filarial worms, and they're as thin as sewing threads. And their favorite hangout spot is in your lymph nodes, where a bunch of them can block fluids from leaving the body,
Ooh.
which can cause tissues in the body to swell almost like a disturbing cartoon. Which is how a worm you need a microscope to see can cause a nightmarish condition known as elephantiasis. The situation where your
Okay.
leg can swell to the same size and color as an
Yeah.
elephant's. And it doesn't just give you Dumbo-sized cankles. All guidelines will allow me to say is Google South Park wheelbarrow. Get infected with filarials and you might need one. But the unsettling part is you may never know you've been violated by filarials until it's too late. Millions of people around the world are infected and a lot of them have no idea. Which means, of course, statistically, someone watching this video has to have it. If it makes
Oh man. Well, hopefully you guys have never had to have this happen to you. I hope not, but that is horrifying. And the fact that it can affect so many people, like on such a large scale makes it scarier. Makes it so much scarier.
Makes you feel any better, if you live in America, you apparently can't get infected with filarial worms.
Oh,
But you're not safe from the hundreds of other parasites that can turn your insides into an Airbnb. Around the world, hundreds of millions of people are infected with parasitic worms as we speak.
yeah.
And if you happen to be asymptomatic, they can put a whole mortgage down on your body and you would be the last to know. And that's just about it for this video. If you actually enjoyed this video, first of all, you're a psychopath, but also my Patreon's gonna be in the description in case you want to support this very questionable content. In fact, you could have watched this video 2 days before I posted it on Patreon. But as always, please don't feel like you have to send money in order to show
A little
support.
baby
Please feel like you
manatee.
have to subscribe though. I'm not playing with y'all. Subscribe or I'm just gonna assume you have worms. Also follow my Instagram, if for no other reason but to help me get verified. There's videos on there too, but honestly I just want that blue check more than a crippin' Nike athlete. Happy Halloween, drink water, hug your mother, and have a nice day. Even though I probably just ruined it.
I thought this video was great though. I really did. I as scary and terrifying as it is, um, it's still a good video. It's great. He did a wonderful job. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate you guys being here. Be sure to like and subscribe to Casual Geographic because he does do such an amazing job, even though this one was absolutely horrifying. But his channel is just amazing. So be sure to give him lots of support. But that's gonna do it for me. I hope you guys had a great day, and I will see you in the next one.